everybody. Welcome to Game On Summit. I am Bowie Lau, the event organizer for the summit, and I welcome everybody to join us. Our panel topic today is Who Wants to Play? Getting into grips with the start on who the gaming audience is in 2021, measuring the true success of gaming campaigns. I have the privilege and honor to moderate this panel along with three prestige speakers, including Bryan Chen, President of Bitcoin Association of Hong Kong, Jennifer Chen, co-founder and director of NewChic Capital Family Office, and Lien, CFO of ChainVerse. Why don't we have a quick introduction of yourself, starting with Bryan?
Thanks for having us, Bowie. I'm very excited for this event. I'm part of the Bitcoin Association of Hong Kong. It was founded in 2014. We currently have 6,000 members globally, and we're growing. We're striving to be the trusted point of contact for governments, institutions, and retailers in trying to drive crypto adoption. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bryan. And Jennifer?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Cheng Low. Added the married name there because there apparently are a few more than Jennifer Changs. Common name like John Smith, I guess. Yeah, I'm the founder and director of my single family office, NewChic Capital. I'm a serial exited entrepreneur and investor for my family office. After a bunch of exits in e-commerce as well as in other areas, I decided I have to pay it forward and invest in others, whether it's direct investments in founders and in new technologies, or whether it's in emerging fund managers. And I'm very happy that we actually won an award the other week for being the most impactful investor in tech family office in Asia.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And Lien?
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Lien Nguyen and I'm the CFO of ChainVerse. We're actually just founded about 3 months ago, so a very new startup based in Hanoi, Vietnam. ChainVerse is a blockchain game publishing platform where we target indie game studios who don't have the resources and know-how to create blockchain games. And we provide them with a full stack platform, including SDK, core services, e-wallet, marketplace, everything that they need to so they can easily publish and monetize their blockchain games. And gamers can come in our ecosystem and easily create and trade game NFTs within and across different games in the multiverse. At the same time, we're also building and operating our own dedicated sidechain for gaming that is compatible with major chains such as Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. And I also just wanted to note that ChainVerse is actually a project that comes out of Apota, and Apota is an internet company in Vietnam. We have about 15 million users accumulatively, spreading across game publishing, mobile payment, and advertising. Thanks for having me.
Great. So let's jump to the topic. Bryan, what stats do...
I don't want to jump to the topic just yet. I would love for you to introduce yourself. Our lovely moderator has not introduced herself yet.
No, I assume everybody knows me. Yes, thank you, Jennifer. I wear many hats. One of the hat I focus on investment. So I run MaGEHold, which is an angel investment firm based out of Hong Kong and Singapore. I do direct investment to different startups. On the other hand, I also run a partner of a VC fund called True Global Ventures. We just closed our fund back in September, oversubscribed with over 100 million USD fund, mainly focused on blockchain. And we also early invested in the NFT space, which got me quite a lot of exposure and interest in this space. On the other hand, I also run MaGESpire, which is a tech venture development education group. So I do a lot of educational events focusing emerging technology, for example, in blockchain, NFT, prop tech, and investment related topics. That kind of inspired me to organize this Game On Summit with GAME, stand for Gaming, Art, Music, and Entertainment, and a heavy focus on blockchain and NFT. So very happy to having three of you to join this panel. So my first question goes to Bryan. What stats do you use to measure the true success of game?
Absolutely. Well, what I see in the gaming industry is it's very competitive. I would say that the first 90 days determines the success of a company because it's about distribution. How many users are they able to acquire at a very quick time period, and how they're going to be able to retain these gamers. So, four stats that I've seen that's quickly being used is the daily unique active wallets. The second one is the total value that's locked in any of these games. The third one, if they are on an NFT platform, is the number of NFTs that are minted. And the fourth metric that I see is the NFT trade volume. For these four metrics, these are some of the metrics that I see quite commonly in some of these projects that are being launched.
Great. Okay. So how about Lien? My next question goes to you. What does the gaming audience of 2021 look like today? I understand your startup just born for about 3 months ago, but how about like 6 months from now or even 12 months?
In terms of the gaming audience, actually, we are seeing a lot of the surprise transformation due to the COVID-19, actually. So traditionally, you think that gaming is for guys, right? Males. But actually, since 2020, a lot of the female gamers have onboarded, and especially in mobile gaming, because
Wow, I'm a
mobile is
gamer.
ubiquitous. I'm sorry?
I'm a gamer.
Oh yeah,
Cheung, are you a gamer?
and
Agree.
yeah, yay.
Yay!
So, I mean, normally women have to spend time for family obligations and other stuff, but due to the COVID-19, they have a bit more time to spend for gaming, right, at home, and especially mobile casual games has really picked up. So we see a shift in terms of audience there, right? Actually, I just looked at some of the reports this morning, and do you guys know that actually in the US, about 64% of the mobile gamers are female, right? Surprise, right? And in Asia, that number is about now is about 40 to 45%. In China, that number is actually higher. So we're seeing an amazing shift of inclusion, right? Female mobile gamers. And I just want to add a little bit on that as well, is that at our company, we have a business called OTA Network, which is a Facebook gaming creator. We connect all the creators in Vietnam with the Facebook platform. And a lot of these creators, people who play games and live stream games on the Facebook platform, a lot of them are actually female. They play games really well, and not a lot of them will play the hardcore games, but even with the casual games, they have a really large fan base that really love to follow them. So that's one of the shift in terms of the gaming audience that we see.
Absolutely.
And I think, yep. And I guess one more thing is that I think everyone you just can't go online and not see the explosion of Axie Infinity, right? And which is a amazing blockchain game. It has sort of taken over the world in the past 3 months in terms of the media, and so in terms of the gaming audience, you can also see that it's shifting towards it's becoming more inclusive, right? So people who don't normally have the chance or don't usually play games because they don't have time, don't have the resources, for example, now they can play to earn. So it's becoming a lot more inclusive for that kind of gaming audience as well.
Absolutely. I think COVID is definitely one of the the big moment where to kind of boost up the gaming industry. Back in the old days, we have pay to play from free to play, and now it's play to earn. So we see the shift. I guess moving dramatically, especially in the developing countries where they actually can bring food to the home, to the table, and bring to the family. So Jennifer, as a seasoned investor, what does success look like for a VC compared to a project?
Well, okay, so I want to quickly clarify that I'm not a VC. I'm a family office, so I'm an LP of some VC funds. Although what I love to do, and Bowie, I think you know this, is I like to make direct investments, and I also like to invest in VC funds so I can benchmark myself against smarter people. And as we all know, smart people tend to be the gamers. I guess we're all gamers here because we're early movers and we're really good at seeing things before it becomes mainstream. So I think one of the things that I like to see is not only that I don't want to ever be outperforming the VCs, but sometimes sometimes that happens. It's fine. I don't want to do that constantly. I think what I like to look for when it comes to return is that not only like a game or an investment, it's not good if it's a flash in the pan. If it's like just a trend. If it's a short-term trend, sorry, I'm gonna make sure is everyone muted because I hear a lot of echoes. But basically, if we hear a lot of sort of I guess noise around something, and it might be like, oh, okay, this is something interesting. It might not just be a trend. For example, I would give like Roblox. A lot of people originally were like, oh, this sounds silly. Like, why do we have to have games for children, right? And then I was like, well, I love Roblox because I wanted my kids to be very good at coding. So I said, okay, play Roblox. Now my oldest codes Roblox games. She has a Roblox store. She has Roblox pets and NFTs, right? And I think one of the reasons why we see that happening is because you have to look at what I think one of my biggest trends is look at what the youngest folks like because they're going to be alive longer. They're going to have the longest use case. So then you can see whether there's a true life cycle for that particular business model or even that game, whether it's a classic game that the whole family plays. And I'm not ashamed to say I play Roblox with my kids. Love it. And even when they do Latin tutorials or coding, sometimes it's all integrated. And as we all know, gamification is the cornerstone of learning and collaboration. So
Absolutely.
that's my answer. So I look for that kind of return, a long-term return, and one where I can benefit as a super consumer as well. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hey, Brian, so any alpha that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think in terms of alpha, I would say games that excite me. There are three of them that make me want to play them. Last summer, the Bitcoin Association hosted a Bitcoin-focused game called MintGox.com, and this game is has some sponsors like Bitstamp. It's classic retro games that they have, and I think there's one more that's coming at the end of the month. Check out their website on mintgox.com to see when their games are and how you can play them. The second one that really excites me is called Mobox.io. This one has been around just for a few months, but I personally know the team, and they're able to combine gamification with finance and also with NFTs. And I think their project is very promising because they've also got new games that are going to be coming out in the coming months. So stay tuned for Mobox.io for any of the other games that they have. They've got tremendous total value locked, a lot of gamers and unique wallets on there. And the third game that really excites me, even though it's not an actual physical game yet, but it's called Star Atlas. So Atlas, it's built on Solana. If you have been able to see the cinematic trailer and the vision of where you're actually going to be able to fly and play on any of their spaceships, or you're going to have structures, it almost feels like it's a little bit of Command and Conquer, but on a first-person level, which is their vision. So those are the three games: mintgox.com, Mobox.io, and also Star Atlas to really excite me.
That sounds awesome. I would love to jump and play now. Thank you. And Lien, how's the gaming and the NFT slash blockchain compare with other mediums?
Oh, I turned off my mic. Yeah, so I think when you think about NFT, usually the first thing that you think of is arts in the arts work because uh, people anything that people want to prove it's unique, it's rare, it is authentic, right? They think of NFT, and that's why artworks come in first. And people are I think last year people's digital painting was sold for $68 million. So that was a big bang in terms of the NFT in arts. But blockchain NFT in gaming is quite different, right? One of the thing that is different is it's I don't know if I could say this word right. It's interoperability. So it can operate within or it can operate across different games, right? So an art NFT, for example, it exists there. You can look at it and it's nice. but you can't really, it doesn't have a lot of utilities. But for game NFTs, you can actually use it in one game or in different games. So that's one of the difference. The other thing that's really stands out for gaming blockchain NFT is that it allows for gaming economies to be expanded tremendously, right? Traditionally, all the games are within sort of a wall garden, right? All their economies are within themselves. But now with the blockchain and NFTs, they can really open up these wall gardens, and they can operate each game as a real economy, right? So they can, developers can actually earn recurring royalties every time a trade is made, right? And a game NFT transfer from one player to another, they can earn this recurring royalties revenue. This never happened before. They can also create all sort of like this monetary or fiscal policy, right, within the economy. So they can create tax and fees for any activities that happen in their network, or they can create a mechanism that encourage or discourage, say, inflation or deflation within that economy. So really, this blockchain and NFTs really enables gaming economies to expand so much more. The gaming industry right now is about $200 billion. But with NFT and blockchain, I really believe it can grow so much more than that.
Absolutely. What's your view on this, Jennifer? What the same question?
I love this question. I think well, why don't which angle would you like me to answer?
From an investor point of view.
Okay. From when it comes to the portability of token, or what? Because I feel like Lien really fleshed it out. So yeah, I want to make sure, because there's like a handful of questions I'd love to answer, and I don't
Sure.
want to
So the question is how gaming and the NFTs like blockchain compare with other mediums. So
when you said other mediums, I was hoping that you would compare it to, like, because as an investor, as an investor, I apparently don't know how to turn off my own computer notifications. My phone is very muted. Sorry, apologies. Other mediums I consider are when you say the word medium, I think of other asset classes. So other asset classes for me, like, you've been to my house, I like to collect art, I like to collect, jewelry, but at the same time, I think it's more interesting. Like, one of our portfolio companies right now is well, I can say it because they actually just raised 10 million, and they were the winner of Shark Tank and Mark Cuban and everything. It's called Eternova. Eternova is diamonds, right? Made from people's ashes, or your loved one's ashes. And one of the things that I was talking to the founder about, which would be more interesting, I think, is that later on, if they have the diamonds on a blockchain, that way you have your loved one with you forever. Like, whether, like, or even if you're, like, for example, not necessarily ashes, pretend you're like going through an acrimonious divorce, and you're like, oh wow, I have to burn all the papers, and then you only need like a tiny bit of ashes to make a diamond, apparently. So then you can just be like, oh, this divorce is final, and it is on the blockchain. Different, like, internal.
That's a great example.
The different interconnectedness, I think, even between traditional asset classes that are illiquid, like, diamonds and gold, right? And then, coin, like pure coin, versus also, like, the other thing that is very interesting is that one of the blockchain crypto focused funds might, it's kind of acting a little bit like not just a trading fund, but like a index fund for me in some ways, right? Because then you might not want to hold things directly. So, and as an investor, I think, the different mediums, like, I still think it's important to diversify, for sure. Like, if you're, don't put all your money into one NFT, like, don't like put all your, do baskets. Like, obviously you guys did a very smart thing, investing in Animoca, for sure, because, like, they're very smart about, going, in terms of metaverses, NFTs, and then me too. Like, I like to keep it a mix of different things. Like, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, like, I really like art, I'm going to collect all one artist, right? So even if you're, like, looking to diversify your collection of NFTs, maybe some are music NFTs, maybe some are more visual, maybe some are more like. So I think as an investor, as a collector, I want to make sure that when you're I think diversifying is analogous to curating very well. If you have some underperformers, cut that out. If it used to be like really in vogue for people to buy oil and trade oil. I mean, that I don't really see a future in that. I do see a future in maybe trading carbon credits and maybe like alternative energy sources. And then also like, now if as you guys know, actually there was a Gucci bag that sold higher in Roblox, in the metaverse. The NFT sold higher than the actual Gucci bag. So I'm just saying that, now I would also suggest as an investor, when you're making an investment in something like whether it's a commodity or a physical thing or whatever, also make sure you might have a corollary in, a metaverse or a blockchain sort of a use case as well. So it's kind of, portable. And then the other thing I would say is if you're investing in blockchain companies, maybe you can do a combination of token and equity, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. So that's what I would advise. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. For my VC fund, we are 100% equity focused. However, if there's any project that give us token as a bonus, we will not say no. I think this is another model that we appreciate. So, Bryan, I have a question about Bitcoin Association. Running a community is very important. It's all about, staying connected with the like-minded person together. As you are the president of the Bitcoin Association for quite some time, can you tell me a little bit more about the association, what the association can bring to the members?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the benefit of being a nonprofit, non-government organization is that we're focused very purely on just trying to drive adoption. As all of us are just volunteers, we're very transparent that when we organize something, if we are to collect any funds, what are the funds going to be used for? And that makes it very easy for us to work with different parties and different stakeholders. In terms of the community, we are on a very diverse and group of individuals. There's some people that are very interested in retail focused versus myself. I'm much more focused on institutional, trying to drive adoption with some of the government regulations. I'm also trying to interact with governments to try and help bridge some of the gaps between what we're seeing in the markets and also what we're seeing with the governments and also the retail space.
That's great. And to my knowledge, like many years ago, the association started to charge Bitcoin as a member fee, right? You can still having it, right?
Absolutely. So we're actually going to have a members meetup. Unfortunately, it's online, or fortunately, if you're not in Hong Kong, it's going to be talking about the future of the Bitcoin Association starting from November 2021. We have a mandate currently where the president is able to serve a maximum of 2 terms, which at this moment is only 2 years. And we're always trying to look for new individuals that are trying to get more involved with the community. So part of this future 2021 initiative is who are the right candidates who can help propel and drive this community to the next level. I will be stepping down as an active director and moving more into a board member type of role, trying to still be part of the community, but not as active so that we can have some new faces and new energy being injected into this very diverse group of individuals.
Sounds exciting. Look forward to have more
Bryan,
information to that.
we should talk. I think Bowie and I both have some candidates in mind for you.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah. So my next question goes to Lien. How will the gaming industry take part in the NFT market? By merchant licenses or even game items? What's your view on it? You need to
Sorry,
unmute, yeah.
it's the question is for me.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, missed that. Okay, so the question is, how does the gaming industry can take part in NFT, right? Either by okay, so definitely there are many different ways that it can take part in the NFT markets, and traditionally. I said, anything that you think that it's important to prove its authenticity, its provenance, unique, right, rareness, you can do that with NFT on the blockchain. So in gaming in particular, for example, the first thing people think of that that can be turned into NFTs are game items, right? Such as weapons, tools, gears, right? These are the things that people spend a lot of money on. And traditionally, without blockchain and without NFT, once they leave the game, all of these will be gone. And some people actually spend, thousands of dollars on these items in games. So if these can be turned into blockchain NFTs, and they can be traded after they leave the game, that's something that people will love. Within games, there are other things that can also be turned into into NFTs, such as let's talk about something more abstract, like for example, a player state or a game state. That's something more abstract, right? What that means is that sometimes some games require you to spend a lot of time doing boring work in order to level up. Right? And some people don't want to do that. They don't want to spend hours or days reading their land so they can level up, right? Go to the next stage. So they can with NFT we can actually blockchainize actually that player state. So that player has already gotten to a certain level. You can turn that into an NFT, and they can sell it to someone who doesn't want to spend time reading. And so if they buy that, they're already at that level that they want, right? So things like that can certainly be turned into into NFT. And I think within the gaming industry, which we're in, licensing is something that can be get a lot of help from blockchain. So for example, we source games from outside of Vietnam. We bring games from China to Vietnam, for example, and the developers will give us the license, right? The license to exclusively publish a game in Vietnam, right? But it doesn't. Once they give us the license, which is a piece of paper, it doesn't stop there, right? When we bring it to Vietnam, we have to sort of legalize it, right? We take it to the embassy to get it legalized, and not just that piece of license, but also like the passports of the owner of the license, all sort of stuff. So it's crazy. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time. So if any of that can be put on the blockchain, people can instantly verify that it's true, it's authentic, it's for real. Then we don't have to go through all of that step. So those are the things that I can think of in terms of in what we can do with
Thank you for
NFTs
sharing.
there.
Yes. So our topic is one of the key is to measure the true success of game campaigns, right? So my next question goes to Jennifer. What recommendation do investors have on helping projects to find talent gaps within their teams?
So I think one really important thing when it comes to talent is that it's not just hard to I don't want to say retain talent, but to train, to attract, and to groom them and to empower them. I think that's the most important key here, is to empower them. I think that if talent, you can motivate your talent and attract them if they feel like they have a sense of shared responsibility, and even more importantly, shared ownership. So I think it's very important in any company that you build is that you have, whether it's token, whether it's equity, that the talent feels like they're partaking in it and that they're growing something big together with you. And I say that, having worked at companies that scaled to thousands of people overnight. And I also say that as, my one of the reasons why I was very fond of my husband when I met him is that he was very encouraging of me in one of my first roles after business school, or during business school actually in Hong Kong, where I was a director of business development for Asia for Rackspace Hosting. And then I met so many gaming clients. And so one of my friends, for example, he sold his first company to Zynga, and then he sold his next company to Uber, right? And then there's another friend who we recently invested in, and he was very good about retaining talent because when they followed him everywhere, because not only like sometimes I think it's good if you work with, some people are of two minds. You either work with friends or you don't work with friends, or you work with family or you don't work with family. So I've actually been fortunate enough that I've been actually able to work with both my family and my friends. And one of the reasons why I think I have good talent is that actually, you might have to keep this to yourself. I use child labor, and I don't actually use child labor. I actually, it's my children. So I have given them a seat at the table in our family office. If you go to our site, NewChic Capital, you'll see that they're on the investment committee. My children have both picked out edtech investments as well as space tech, as well as metaverse investments for us. And they actually get token every month from us to their hard wallets. So that's what they learn. I think that's very important that they learn. So when I say talents, like sometimes you have to groom your talent as you would your own kids, and that's why I'm kind of using them as a comparison. So the biggest talent of all is my husband. I awarded him our anniversary, our 10-year anniversary is coming up. So as part of the birthday and anniversary gift, we as at NewChic made an investment together as a family into an avatar company. And I think avatars are actually kind of NFTs in and of themselves. And I think it's very important, like for these companies, to think of more use cases for these avatars. So the avatars could be used, like in the future, Bowie, if you're tired and you're moderating, you could be drinking water like I am right now, and your avatar could keep talking for you. You could have this broadcast. Like I know
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, but that's the capstone. I think that's the capstone is if you're involved in building something great together, and if you have a share, however small, but it can grow into something big. And if you feel like part of the fabric, then I think you have solved the talent equation. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for sharing.
Actually, Bowie,
Bryan, you have something to
want
say?
to add something to that. So both Jennifer and I were both working at Rackspace at different time periods. So I never understood what the word culture meant until I went to Rackspace. You had the entire values on there. For example, treat every racker like friends and family. And then every single quarter, you literally had a straitjacket, which is to restrain people usually that are in very challenging conditions. But this straitjacket was actually awarded to the racker who was supposedly doing fanatical support that went above and beyond in trying to delight their customers. And it wasn't always about, oh, you have to try and chase numbers as a business development person. It was about how do you provide fanatical support? And we would always try and share stories about what other people were doing to delight customers. And by having this value system as being the core that everybody had to go through walking into the offices, you really feel like you are part of a team and you're going above and beyond. And as Jennifer so highly rightly mentioned, it costs a lot of money to try and acquire the right person, whether you're trying to have a talent recruiter. It takes time to train them. But if you try and retain them as well, that's also a factor that you need to consider when you're trying to look for a teammate. So I've never been interviewed the way that I have at Rackspace, where they actually had EQ games where they put me into a room and you've got two people sitting each in front of you, and one person sitting next to you, and they're trying to test what are you gonna do in a game of magical chairs, literally magical chairs, and they're just trying to test your level of stress. And that was the organization I really wanted to be part of because it didn't treat me like a number. They treated me like a person that can add to the organization both during and also afterwards. And I think culture is really hard to experience, but I think Jennifer and I have some alignment and some exposure to that.
Wow, amazing.
I didn't realize you were at Rackspace as well. But you know what's very interesting is you had an interview, right? And I'm sure you were probably like after I was the first director of business development for Rackspace. I grew our team to like 50 or more in Asia, and our revenues too. We approached about 100 million in revenue when I was there. So the fanatical support, yeah. And then the one pagers, the racker to the core, the tattoo sleeves, that was my doing. So I love how that we were both at the same company. I also want to say that I was never interviewed. I was just I had lunch with one of them, and then they asked me to go to the office the next week, and then I just assumed the role. I was still a business school student actually. So I've actually never been interviewed for a job.
I would love to continue to talking to every one of you, but I'm mindful that we're running out a little bit about time. So let's have a final round, have a final words. I would like to ask each of you if you have any final thought or anything that you would like to share with our audience today. Why don't we start with Lien?
Okay. Well,
30 seconds.
we try. Yeah, 30 seconds. Okay. We're trying really hard here to bring blockchain to gaming, not just in Vietnam, but globally as well. And a lot of it's at the very nascent state. And we've meeting a lot of challenges and roadblocks here. But I hope that organizations like Bowie and Bryan are working at, please spread the word, spread the education. Blockchain is not just crypto, right? Not just speculation, not just coin trading. We're trying to bring technology to the forefront of a lot of things that can really help and change people's lives. So please support us.
Thank you, Lien. And Jennifer?
I love what Lien just had to say. And first of all, I love meeting all of you guys for the first time, and finding out that we have alums of the same place even.
And how can we like best way to reach you out as well? This is my final question. Yes.
Sure. So my final thought is that actually whatever you do, whatever you're building, whatever you're creating, whatever you're investing in, always, think of strip it down to the bare bones without all the fancy jargon, NFTs, tokenization, blockchain, strip it away to the core and see if at the end of the day you have something that is impactful to humanity in some ways, and generating something that's not just ROI, but something that is, that will help our future generations, not just like, oh, this is really great, let's exit in 6 months. If you have something like that, that's not sustainable. So look for things that are impactful and sustainable, even if, there is fancy jargon involved. So that's sort of my final point, because, whatever we build now, it's not for our children and our grandchildren who are inheriting that, and then they need to continue with what we have started, right? And then I have another prediction, is that I feel like I was born too early. I wish I was born in a time where we were all immediately encoded onto the blockchain. That way, when we go into hospitals, they're like, I know exactly what you'll need because you are on this part and this node, and this is what happened, and this is what happened. And I feel like all of us, all of our stories, all of our histories are eventually being on blockchain. And right now I'm in the process of getting my Latin professor, because I love Latin, I'm a Latinist, getting all his texts and getting all the Latin translations as well as the Latin text onto blockchain as well. I think that would be amazing. Yeah, so that's my final thought for you. Let's preserve our histories even as we are writing the future. And you guys can reach me at GenClub, JENNCLUB.com. Sorry, hello@GenClub.com. Or you can reach me on Instagram, Jennifer Cheng.
LinkedIn, right? Yeah.
My LinkedIn has 10,000 pending requests right now. I will get the link to direct message me on Instagram or somewhere and tell me to accept your request, because I'm a little bit
Sure.
I do check LinkedIn about once every 5 months.
Got it. Bryan?
Well, first off, I want to say nice meeting all of you for the first time. Bowie, thank you for having me. If I have any last words, it's if you have a game that's built on Bitcoin, definitely send it our way, because I think the Bitcoin community is very excited. But another one that I'm also very interested in is any type of Solana-based game that you have. Do let me know. The transaction fees, the cost, and the speed is much faster. So if we can also play on that, Bitcoin, Solana, just let me know. And you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. I just updated my name. So just type that into LinkedIn. Thank you.
Great. Well, once again, thank you so much, Jennifer, Lien, and Bryan, for joining this panel. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Bowie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.